The Bul Armory SAS2 Ultralight from Israel. Before we get into the review, I've been told I need to tell you to subscribe to my channel. So I'm going to give you an opportunity right now to go down, and it's in this corner or this corner, I don't know where it is, but go hit the subscribe button so you get notified of all the awesome reviews here. Before we get into the review, I'm going to give you my relationship with Bul. I contacted them to get a T&E gun, that's testing and evaluation gun. With the pandemic and all the stuff going on right now, they said, sorry, we don't have any. So I contacted them again and said, hey, I'm an FFL. How about I become a dealer? So I bought a few guns as a dealer, and I sold all of them except for this one. So essentially, this one was free because I sold the other ones and made enough money to pay for this. But, you know, I technically paid for it. So I don't know if that's going to influence my review or not, but that's the story behind how I got this gun. So I had a few different Bul SAS2s come through, which is their 2011 style pistol. And I'm just going to cut right to the chase. It's a very good gun. They cost starting at around $1,250, $1,300 retail. The SAS2 Ultralight right here with the RMSC red dot is $1,670. Which in the 2011 world is a budget gun. If you saw my review on SPS Pantera, which is another imported gun, I'll tell you right now, I don't have high expectations when I buy a budget 2011, but this one definitely surpassed everything I had expected, and I'll get into the details. So specifications, this specific gun right here, the UL, is a 3¼ inch barrel. It is aluminum framed, steel slide, polymer grip. It comes in at the svelte weight of around 21.9 ounces. So it's a very light gun, very easy to carry. A few different positives on it, just starting at the front here. It has a red fiber optic front sight. This one is fitted with the Shield RMSC red dot, which has a little notch for co-witnessing. It's not the best co-witness or backup, but it's doable. But I really like the combo there. To take off as much weight as possible, everything is fluted. So they fluted the barrel hood, they fluted the front of the Bul barrel. They just took a machine and said, hey, let's take off every little bit of weight possible. And it made it unbelievably light at just at 22 ounces. Now, when you get a gun that's light, typically people say, okay, lighter guns have more recoil. And yes, sometimes, because up front, the more weight you put up front, the less recoil you're going to have. It helps to mitigate recoil that way. However, when you have a lighter gun like this, it's the moving mass of the slide hitting the back of the slide stop. That part right there is what actually causes a lot of your recoil. So the lighter your slide, the less recoil you're going to feel as well. So while you may have a lighter, less weight up front, the overall, moving mass of the slide is less. So I didn't find this to be a particularly, kicky gun. It didn't really jump around in my hand a lot unless I was shooting some, plus P ammo. And right now with the ammo shortage, really all I had was some really spicy stuff. I didn't have any light ammo. So, it really gave me an opportunity to test it with hollow points, Syntech, different JHPs. I had some FMJ ammo that I was shooting through at some range ammo, but I'm pretty stocked up on hollow points. So around 750 rounds through it, had no issues whatsoever, very reliable. The trigger, measured on my trigger pull gauge, came in very consistently at 3.5 pounds. I've talked about 2011s before, but the single action only 2011, 1911 triggers are the best on the market. This is a very nice trigger. Now, one of the things that I did notice in a lot of the guns is a little bit of trigger creep. Now, if you're coming from a striker fire gun like a Glock or a SIG, no matter what 2011 you pick up, the trigger is going to feel awesome. But in the 2011 world, if your trigger moves at all once it hits the wall before the hammer dropping, so right there, it hits the wall and there's a little bit of extra movement, there's a second stage and then the trigger drops, that's what's considered trigger creep. On your high-end 2011s and 1911s, you really don't want to see that. For me, for something that you're going to be using for concealed carry, this is perfectly adequate. It's not a really big deal. Frame to slide fit. I was very surprised at how tight the frame to slide fit is on these. It is a very well put together gun. Moving down to the grip itself, it has a nice undercut. I like a nice undercut on your grip because then it's going to help you get a nice high purchase on a light gun like this. It's going to help to mitigate some of that recoil too. So great job on that. It is a 2011 style, so staccato STI style, but they did change the magazines. We'll talk about that in a second. So it doesn't use, you can't interchange STI magazines with it, but it's it is a double stack 1911. Some of the parts in it are metal injection molded. So if you saw my review on the SPS Pantera, you heard me talk about metal injection molding and how some of those parts can fail. From what I've heard about Bul Armory and their MIM process is their parts are a little stronger. And also, I can't tell you which ones are MIM because they've taken the time to finish them and shave off all of the molding marks that you'd normally see on a MIM part. So that extra time that they took shows me that it's probably going to be more reliable over time than normal metal injection molded parts, but time will really tell. I've had no issues with it. Moving on to the magazine, it comes with two magazines. I have a black one and a stainless one here, and I'll tell you why in a second. But the magazine that comes with this gun, it's 19 rounds. Here's the STI magazine, and they're the same tube height, but the STI magazine is only 17 rounds. So they did some voodoo in here to make the Bul Armory one the same tube height, but fit 2 extra rounds. They made the follower, it looks like it's a little shorter, but also on the base plate, they did two cool things. Number one, they took away the star. The star on the STI base plate, this is something where if you drop a magazine, it happens to me quite frequently, not like all the time, but it's more than once, where a rock hits it and then the magazine explodes and parts go everywhere. So they took that away and they use a pin in the back to hold the base plate on. Number two, this is aluminum and it's a little taller in the back, which allows another round in there. So same size tube, 2 extra rounds on 9mm, kudos to them. Now, the reason I have 2 different colors comes down to customer service. So when I buy a budget 2011, like with the SPS, I didn't have high expectations for customer service because, less expensive companies aren't known for really good customer service. Well, when I bought this gun, I was really going to test it out. And so one of the people I sold one to, they sent me their magazine back because it was bent. Now, there's a shortage of magazines here in the States right now for the Bul Armory guns. So I was not sure this was going to be a real test of their customer service to see how quickly they got me one. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I sent them an email, and within 5 business days, I had a brand new magazine in my mailbox. I gave my customer another mag I had, so they got me a magazine. It's stainless. I don't care. But there was a problem, and they fixed it. So I can tell you that their customer service for me so far has been second to none. Getting into the case, it's a plastic waterproof case. Comes with 2 magazines, a lock, some laser cut foam. Your standard case, nothing, no real big deal there. Moving back to the gun, the frame rail. So on their full-size gun, it's a full-size 1913 Picatinny style rail. So I use a Surefire X300A on the full-size guns and the Commander. On the compact, the Ultralight, I don't have a light that fits on here. It's too long, so I don't know. You're gonna have to look up and see what kind of lights you'd put on it. But just bear in mind that whenever you put a light on a short carry gun like this, especially a 2011, you're going to have a hell of a time finding a holster. So you're going to have to go custom no matter what when you put a light on one of these guns. Now, for me, I have an LAS concealment sidecar style holster for my Tri-Arc and Staccato. And the gun fits perfectly. I just have a bunch of extra plastic. So when I was, reviewing it and testing it, this is what I used. I have a custom holster on the way that's gonna fit it better and not give me this extra space down here, but it holds another magazine right there, a carry it appendix inside the waistband, and had no problems with it. It's very lightweight. So outside of the extra, what is that? 1.25 inches hanging down. This is actually a really comfortable gun to carry. So I am going to continue to carry this gun when I get my holster for it. A couple other things to note on the finish. So it comes in stainless, black oxide, or an optional PVD. The black guns that are black oxide, I have had people tell me that they've had rust blooms come on them after, shooting them on rainy conditions or with a lot of sweat. So bear in mind that black oxide isn't super durable. It's not like a DLC or a nitride even. So it's not going to be the most durable finish as far as rust and corrosion prevention. So if you're getting a black oxide gun, keep it well oiled. Keep a nice layer of oil on it to make sure that there's no rust or anything that gets on there. But overall, this is a very good gun. Oh yeah, single side safety standard. The only thing I do maybe is upgrade to an ambi, but I don't do a lot of offhanded shooting. And if my right arm gets shot and I have to shoot with my left hand, hopefully I'll be proficient enough to make that happen. I'm not a pro shooter, but I try. So overall, a very good gun. I've had a really good experience with Bul with their customer service when things go wrong. My personal experience so far is it's super reliable. So if you're looking for a way to get into 2011s and you're not sure, if you really want to step up into that semi-custom world, I can tell you right now, the Bul Armory SAS2 line is a great place to start.